Good morning. It is May 4th, 2024, and we're going to talk about the week's progress for Ultra Engine. Lots of cool stuff to talk about this week. Um, so let's get to it. This is where we're at right now. I think it's looking rather nice. So, last week, 26 bug reports were solved. The imposter system, I don't remember if this was released like last Friday, a week ago, or just recently, but there was an update for. Oh yeah, there was the initial update that went out. It was missing a couple of files, and those were added, so it's working now. The biggest thing was actually combining imposters with foliage, with the foliage system. This was a little bit tricky. In my initial implementation of the foliage, I was just using the same shader for everything, and it was just hard coded. And then I added a mesh layer. I worked it into the shader family system, so now you can have like foliage with like the PBR lighting model with the specular gloss shader. You can add different ones, and it'll work really nicely together with the fragment shader. And then there were some improvements to the specular gloss lighting model you might not have noticed, but it's definitely looking better. The next things that need to happen, I need to add the slope and height constraints to the foliage tool. The lighting on the imposters in the foliage system, I don't think it matches the 3D mesh exactly, and so I need to do a little bit more work on that. Collision and raycasting on the foliage system, and then it will be done. So before we move on, let's take another look. So you probably saw this video. This is how you generate an imposter. And this does a good job of showing what's actually going on.
Does that preview window still show up, or I haven't tried this yet, so
Yeah, it does. It's
awesome.
yeah. So it just kind of fades in between the nearest two views, and it's actually using dithering when it does that. It's not using alpha blending because that gives bad results. It also generates a normal world normals map, which I think it looks kind of cool. And then in the world it looks like that. And then there's another video. This shows it very nicely. So this is the 3D model, and we just transitioned to the 2D imposter, and that looks very cool because that's kind of a weird shaped model, but you can see as you go all around, it looks pretty. It looks almost exactly like the 3D model, and you want to use these for like far away objects in the distance, like probably beyond where the cascaded shadow map extends to, because yeah, like more like this. This is really for showing large numbers of objects. And here's a first look at it.
Wow.
So you have the 3D models in the foreground, and then as it gets far away into the hills, it swaps it out with the 2D imposter. The lighting is not. I think the normals are off here, so I need to adjust that shader. But it looks pretty good, especially, and I think it'll look better once I get that lighting to match a little bit more closely. And then this is just a nice screenshot. Did a little bit more work on the grass, and yeah, I think those are looking pretty good.
Yeah, that kind of looks semi-photorealistic.
I like what I see.
Yeah. Is there going to be, when this is all tidied up, is there going to be like an example map showing the vegetation system so people can just load it up and just see how everything looks
Yep.
without them? Good. Yeah. Because I'm not a big vegetation person, but I like to like look.
And I actually have this was also uploaded, the little jungle scene. You can download this right now and look around at it. This is not final, but I just wanted to like get it up as soon as possible so you could have access to it.
I tried it this morning on the latest engine, and I was having all sorts of issues with things not loading or something. Like it was giving me black screens most of the time. Also, there's two projects in there. You have one labeled Jungle, which doesn't work, and then there's New Project 10, which at least compiles in that Jungle asset you gave.
Okay, I'll take a look.
It's also I noticed that at least if you use grass imposters or imposters for grass, that you get set fighting even with a high amount of camera range.
That you get what?
Set fighting,
Oh,
like flickering for the grass. Yeah, also the trees.
yeah, it's like I'll be able to do more testing this next week. This stuff is like hot off the press. You probably won't want to use imposters for grass because since the grass aligns to the terrain,
It's also with trees.
imposters would be weird. Yeah, with trees, then that sounds like it may be a problem, but I'll be able to do more testing next week. This stuff is very 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 early.
Post it here in the chat, an image of it.
Yeah, somebody over here. Okay. Okay, what that means is the depth pass is not matching the depth of the final pass. That's what's going on there, and so nothing's being drawn in those spaces, even though you see the space cut out for it. So that means there's a mismatch in the shader. It's either the shader is not updated, or maybe there's an error in my shader that's being used right there.
I updated the project like 5 minutes ago, so.
All right, well we'll get to it. If this continues to be a problem, then please post a bug report with the files that I need to create it. But right now, like, I mean, this just went up like yesterday, I think. So
yeah,
it wouldn't surprise me if there's some issues that will get hammered out next week. Let's see. We can talk a little bit about assets. I have a good source of rocks. I have 57 rocks, and they're very good quality, high resolution, not too high poly. Could use some help creating LODs for that. I think Alien had expressed an interest in that when he gets back from being in the middle of wherever he is. Palms and tropical plants, I think we're good on. Like, I think with I think Triette actually, I think it produces good palm trees if you lower the poly counts on those. So I'm pretty confident that I can get some good final trees out of that for palm trees. deciduous trees and pines are a problem. Now, I do have a big set of trees, and I do have a big set of trees, and that's where these come from. And the foliage on these is actually excellent, and it looks really good. The problem is the trunks are too low poly. I have the original 3ds Max files. So if those are modeled with splines, then what we can actually do is increase the subdivision of those splines, and maybe even if they're not. And I think we can get rid of like some of the sharp edges in some of the branches, and just increase the poly count a little bit, and then we'll still, because we know the trees look good like from a distance. That would be one approach. If anyone's interested in that and has 3D Studio Max, certainly let me know. I use it. It's very, very rare that I use that program. So, I would like to, before I get a license for the year, I would like to find out if these are even modeled with splines, and even if this idea even works. And then pine trees are the other thing that we could really use that we don't have. And I've looked at some pine trees from other games and figured out what needs to happen. Basically, all you have to do is add some sideways facing branches, which nobody does for some reason. Look at everything on cgtrader.com or TurboSquid, and everybody makes their pine trees with the branches pointing straight up. Nobody makes them pointing sideways. And yeah, I mean it's actually a very simple problem to solve. And Crytek also does some things they have a few different textures put into an atlas for their trees, which is nice. So if you're interested in remodeling some pine trees that I actually have the textures for them, then certainly let me know if that's something you're interested in. I'm hoping to release I would like to release 4 free DLCs with the engine. I would like to release one DLC with a ton of rocks, all the rocks you'll ever need. I would like to release one DLC with that's kind of tropical themed. I would like to release one DLC with trees and pines and general vegetation and grass. And then I would like to release another DLC with just a bunch of 4K skyboxes in DDS format that have been prepared with the to work with PBR. That's what, and I would like those to just be free so that people can just start using them. I think that would be really fantastic for everyone to have. So, if you're interested in helping with any of that stuff, please reach out to me.
All right, question. Why are the DLCs not just packaged with the engine, and then in the project manager, you can just opt in or opt out to include the assets?
Because it'll be a lot of extra download space.
Oh, like gigabytes.
Yeah, probably. I mean, what I'm talking here, this is probably 10 gigs, maybe.
All right, yeah. You don't want to be like other engines that it takes 50 gigs just to install the base engine.
Well, yeah, it's also kind of nice because our standard edition, I think it only takes 500 megs to install. The Pro edition takes quite a lot more because those the Visual Studio lib files are enormous. Yeah. They're the debug library is 2 gigs or something like that, or 1.5.
Now, just thinking about that, is the compiling a debug build with the debug libs useful for the end user? Because
yeah.
But every time there's a problem with the lib, I just get a symbol error and I can't really debug it because I don't have the source.
Yeah, but I can debug it, and it also, the debug build also does additional error checking
Right.
that the release build does not.
All right.
So it's constantly doing checks that it runs slower, not just because, mostly because the debug build just runs slower.
Right.
I guess STL has a ton of error checks in it that it doesn't do in release. But also, it also does. On top of that, it also does a lot of error checking with the graphics API, which also slows things down. Which is what you want when you're running in debug mode.
Okay.
I'm not even sure. It might not even be possible to compile a debug program with the release mode lib, but I'm not sure. Anyways, any questions about foliage system or about the assets that we would like to include with this?
I think again, I think this is a good start because people want grass and trees, and I think you should also look into like other things that people like really, really want also for besides grass and trees and all that. Like,
What do people really, really want besides grass and trees? Grass and trees is everything you need, man.
I don't know. Yeah, like I guess just like I don't know. It depends. Like maybe vehicles. I don't know, but we'll see.
I do know from experience. Sorry, did somebody else say?
Yeah, I would say maybe some buggy or something would be nice, that you can see how you can create a vehicle in the engine.
Yeah.
I think Spider-Pig was asking for the physics to create his stuff a few days ago. So yeah.
Yeah, he made that little cart. It was cool.
Okay.
Yeah, I do know from experience. People like DLCs, and the outdoor vegetation stuff is the stuff that, in my experience, that's the stuff that sells the best.
Right.
And that indicates with these things, I'm not. I don't have any plans at this time for any paid DLCs, but that does indicate to me that those are the things that are the most useful to people. So
Yeah, because I always hate having to go out. Like, obviously, it's been really hard to find quality trees. It's a pain for most developers to find good foliage. So I like that idea for the DLC.
And yeah, it's also like what you're saying, like from my own experience of trying to hunt down like good quality assets and being tricked like half the time. Yeah, it's actually really hard to sift through this stuff, and it's kind of like, it would be appealing to me to just say, oh yeah, well you can just let me just offload that responsibility onto the community. Somebody else can make trees and they can sell them, and they can get rich selling trees. It it's I think it works a lot better when I just say, okay, these are the trees that I recommend using. Here's the grass you should use. If you want to use your own, you can, but this is set up, it's ready to go. You're not going to buy it and then find out that it's in the wrong file format, or oh, this blade of grass is actually like 20 million polygons. Because that stuff does happen. I'd say like whenever I buy 3D models, I'd say I get what I wanted about half the time.
Right.
It was wreckage writing is it's true. Unreal is pushing pre-made content. Also Unity. This content stores are pretty insane, to be honest. So yeah. would be maybe a good choice for Ultra as well to have such a store or something like this, like an asset store, and then you have some pre-made content from you, and everyone else can put in the components and all the stuff.
No, well,
So-
what
Yeah.
what I'm saying is, like, people like DLCs and they buy those, but like, I've tried to do a store for 3D models 3 times, and every time, like, nobody wanted to buy anything and nobody wanted to sell anything. And at the same time, like, DLCs sell like really, really well. Like, every DLC that I've ever released has sold as made more than enough to pay for its production. So
Does your Steam version? I haven't checked. You might be able to just do like a Steam Workshop thing if people wanted to give out free shit.
that's yes, we did that. We did Steam Workshop. I was
Oh,
one of the
okay, I
people
don't know.
I was one of the people involved when Steam Workshop started. Okay, there was that thing with like paid mods for Skyrim. Does anybody remember that?
I remember.
So I was involved with the guys who were doing the workshop stuff at Valve. I had meetings with them about getting something set up similar to that, and we did have paid items in the Steam Workshop, and I guess we still do actually, and it still does work, but there's some issues with that. First of all, there's no approval process for workshop for workshop items. So like anything anybody uploads just is automatically available. So it quickly fills up with garbage. There's nobody wants to buy anything through it. Like the sales through it are extremely small. And in fact, I had the same item that I was selling on my own account. I had the same item in the workshop and then as a DLC. And the DLC would outsell the workshop item by like 10 times. So the most actually I had the same item on our website in our own system, our own little store thing. I had the same item for free and as a DLC on Steam, and I could sell more copies of the DLC than I could get people to download from my website for free. So the most important factor in what people will buy is not what the thing it's not the thing that they're buying, and it's not the price. People just buy the way they want to buy, and they just won't change their behavior. Like, people have way more loyalty to digital stores than they do to real stores like brick and mortar.
Well, Steam makes it very. A lot of people just want to just buy things through Steam. As you can see, through a lot of people prefer the Steam version of Ultra Engine versus getting it from your website because they just click add to cart. Their credit card information is already saved. They hit checkout. They get a receipt and it's in their library.
There's something for Arma 3. It's called Creator DLCs. So Bohemia Interactive is taking some mods which are applied to this program, and then they sell them, and they share the money then in the end.
Yeah, the accounting would be a mess because unfortunately you can't split revenue from Steam only goes to one account. So in my experience, like also like from what I've seen, like authors are not very interested in something like that because they don't know if they're going to make any money, and it's like, what, why haven't I heard of this? What is this? What tends to work better is if you just offer them cash up front. and then it's like they don't have to take any risk. They just, is it work? And another thing you can do actually is find somebody who has something you want, and then you tell them, and then first tell them like, oh, I would like to, hire you to, make this new thing that's sort of like what you already have. Like, I like that monster. I want a new monster that's kind of like that but different. And then you say like, oh, well, if you actually like, I like what you have already. If you just want to license that to me, like we could do that too. Like that's good enough for me to use. If I can just get like a non-exclusive license to sell that. If you start with that, then they'll be like, oh, you're trying to rip me off. But if you start with, you're trying to hire them to do new work on a new project, and then they have the option to get the money without doing any work, then it starts to sound like a pretty good deal to them. So it's weird. It's just like there's a specific way that it has to be done to work. Yeah, I remember. Anyways. So yeah, with the foliage stuff, it's like I just want to get content in people's hands that is not programmer art, so that, because I know like if I give you guys easy access to good 3D models, then that will result in just an increase in quality of all the screenshots and stuff that we see posted. So I want you guys to be like, especially with the foliage stuff, this is just like the most basic stuff that everybody needs almost. So yes, I am from capitalism world. So yeah, if anybody does want to help, and if you have like,
I have
with
3D
any of
Max
these issues,
but I am not good at making trees. The thing I can offer you is that I export them for you to format that you can edit in Blender or something like this.
If you wouldn't mind taking a look at a max file, I would just like to see if. Okay, so these. This tree here looks pretty good. Zoom in, and you can see what's going on with the trunk. See, this is like. Yeah. If these are splines, then it should be possible to just increase the subdivisions, and those will get much rounder.
Yes.
I don't know if they're still in splines in the max file, because I can't open the max file right now. If you want to take a look at this, it would be helpful just to simply like tell me if these are splines, and if this can be increased, then I can get 3ds Max and start working with this. That would actually be like super helpful if you don't mind.
I can do this, yes.
All right, cool. Thank you. Okay, anything else, or are we ready to talk about XFORM?
Ready.
X Factor. Who's got the X
XFORM.
Factor? So just a couple of things to talk about. The player scale from we were talking about last week. Do you have any like final thoughts on what are your findings on that?
So I think it was mostly the FOV throwing me off. Because I modified the project to accept parameters to do full screen, because that's when I can get a good feel of like the player scale. In the window, it's kind of a little bit difficult.
Mm-hmm.
That was also throwing me off too. But I think like I just don't like wide FOVs. Like 70 was a little bit too much. I turned to 54, and it felt better. And I lowered the player height a smidge. I think I went from, say that's prefab. I went right now. I went from 1.7 to 1.65.
Oh, okay.
Just a little bit. Yeah, just a tiny bit. And I think those two are a little bit. Those two actually solved a lot of things. I also lowered the jump height because the player kept slamming their head in the ceiling.
Yeah.
So because I
I do
want to
that a
keep,
lot.
yeah. So I want to keep the wall height 256 centimeters high as standard. I didn't like how I had to add a few more brushes on top just so it was like high enough because I want everything to be uniform
Yeah.
to the mapping standards. So I could fix this in the shell really easily. I just lowered the ceiling in the hallway, and then for the lobby, it doesn't really matter. So
Okay, so we're going to 256 high for our like one story interior.
I want to. So
Okay.
a 1024 by 1024 texture will fit nice snugged in it.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, that is kind of
yeah.
a pain if we have to add trim to. That's going to be difficult.
Well, yeah. If you could paint the trim on the 2D text, or you can have 3D models. I'm trying to experiment what I want to do for that because
Well, it's like we always have to decide. Okay, what are we gonna put across the top?
yeah, yeah. I really wish another thing, just like something I want is I wish there was like a geometry shader where at the edge of the brush or the geometry, it kind of made like a frame around the material. This way, if something like didn't like repeat or something, but you want like a nice cutoff, um, you can just there'll be like a nice like separator between the edge. You know what I mean? Like it's hard to describe what I want, but I don't
Maybe
know. That's
post a
just
picture.
um. Well, it's just adding a frame around the geometry. That's pretty much what it is. Automatically without painting it on.
You know what
But
I would like to have is like something like a facade on that appears on brushes. So like you have like geometry and not just a texture appearing on the brush. You have like actual geometry and not like tessellation, but like just like okay. So like if you drag out like a box, it'll have like windows appear on the side of it and
mm,
like details of like a building and stuff. That would be very cool.
I would have to see it.
Yeah, but yeah, same with what you're saying. Like I don't understand what you're describing.
Uh, I don't know. Um, and yeah. So speaking of wish lists, I wish I could duplicate my materials right from the editor. Like I wish I could just right click and hit duplicate. That'd be nice. Because it's okay if I share my screen. I've been actually playing with a lot of materials.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. So I'm gonna share my screen, and I'm just gonna share my entire screen. What the hell? Live. All right. So this is what I've been playing with. I just think grabbing materials from like the internet and just playing with the size, the colors, mainly the colors because they'll either be too dark or too light, and then you have to balance it out. This texture I just grabbed some Cyclone because we kind of need like an office ceiling tile, and that's I already added. So so the player is now prefab because that bug was fixed. So
Woo!
yeah, but I think
Wow,
this is a
that
good,
is looking good, man.
yeah. So this is like the concrete area. I don't know what I'm gonna do for the concrete area, um, but I just thought this would be a good start.
Yeah, this would look really good if there was just like some signs on the wall, little details like
Yeah, yeah.
exit or caution, blah blah blah.
Yeah, and the door was textured and everything, but
The state of California has
yeah,
requires that we have chemicals on this premises that blah blah blah.
yeah, Mike has cancer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so this is 4 lights, 4 probes, and this is, I don't know what to put here. That's why it's just developer stuff. This is like what a like a conference room will be, and despite us like not liking the carpet, thinking carpet was a terrible idea, I think this came out pretty nice. This is just a PBR material downloaded from the internet, so it's not really special. The plaster I really really like, because plaster's hard because it's you think it'll be flat, but it's not flat because the normals do all the work. And then
Yeah.
I'm experimenting with some trim. Right now the brushes, I might just paint them on and with a normal and see how that works. And this is what I want to do with the lobby. I kind of want to do the same plaster. I kind of want a different floor. I just rotate this 45 degrees on the brush face. Another thing on my wish list is to rotate the face in the material. So the offset rotate, like an offset rotation.
Mm.
So because that would be good for grates, and instead of having like a 45-degree angle on the grate, you can just do it in the editor. This I just did it on the face, so
Yeah.
it's just a nice.
It looks
breaks up
good.
yeah.
I got a general question if you see this. So I was doing yesterday the view model and it got dirt on it, right? But the office at the moment looks really clean.
Yeah.
So yeah, it would be kind of weird if on the view model is dirt and the office is completely clean and yeah.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
right now I just grab things from the internet. What I want to do is like say, okay, this is a good base material, and then we can go in and add dirt and grime and like do our storytelling. And when the decal system gets in, we can also add grime and blood and all that to it. Yeah. Right now, I just want to see how it'll look at its prime, pretty much. And then we'll go in and like dirty it up and
so we make it dirty
yeah, we'll break things. We'll tear down columns. We'll tear down ceiling tiles. We'll do all that. Right now, I just want we'll look like in its prime, and it's good. And this is a good demonstration of like the engine, because usually when engines showcase their like material system or their rendering system, they usually do like clean offices and clean like areas, and this is like a good way to like get it. But
I like it. It's like everything is like pretty subtle, but it looks good. And
right.
I think this is just sort of the background, and then you have like once you put some populate it with 3D models, those are more the showcase.
Yeah,
but this is just like a very nice background to it.
Yeah. So right now I think it's really bright, and because it's just a point light and it's really bright and it's white. But once we take everything out, it will get really dark.
Yeah, it looks great.
Yeah, and again, like with this concrete, the top, it was just downloaded from Polyhaven, and I just went Blender and just lightened up a little bit. And same thing with these 2 bricks. I actually like the desaturated brick a little bit more. I think the hand brick takes a little bit too much away. Like it's more of a focal point. And again, I'm not really too sure how the I'm just gonna call it the dungeon area, pretty much. I'm not sure like how that's gonna work. What direction I want to really go with that. Like, what do I want my concrete walls to be like? And the scale of gray, because I think down there we kind of want everything to be gray, and then use signages and lights and props to guide the player. So
if we talk about the materials, maybe some function would be also helpful if you have that you can replace the material in the model. I think right now it's only possible to use the predefined materials.
In a model file.
Yeah.
You
So
can select a like if you select a mesh. Hold on. Stop
I'm
watching.
pretty much done. Yeah, I'm pretty much done anyway, so I'll stop streaming. Stop. Right, where are you? Stop streaming. Yeah.
Oh, I don't have any MDL files in there.
You can make one. Just receive the crate.
This is still a GLTF.
Yeah.
So if you select the mesh, then here you can create a new material, browse, edit.
I actually was searching this. I don't find it.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, that's where it is.
Yeah.
Thanks to this. Yeah, but if can you also change it in code? For example, if you want to build an box like this, so you make a material which is like the trigger material, like something transparent, and then you can move it
You
around.
can. There's a mesh set material command.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Would be helpful for building menu or something.
What's that?
This could be helpful for a building menu that you can change the materials to building materials. So yeah.
Yeah. And then so the office props, I was debugging like another project, and then I actually found these, and I looked at them, and I found out that like the desk with a couple of monitors and a computer on it, plus the chair, it was like I think it was like 11,000 It was like 11,000 vertices, which is quite high. Because originally I was told it was like the desk and everything minus the chair was like, I think it was like 2,500 or 2,000 vertices, and I said, oh, okay, that's cool. But 11,000 for that assembly is too high. That's gonna hurt us because like every vertex you have has a cost. So if you have a bunch of little vertices that don't add anything visually, they will still add like a computational cost. And so you have to keep that stuff under control. So like stuff like, the attention to detail was very impressive, but I mean like each individual key on the keyboard was modeled, and that was something where it's like, okay, I guess we can probably do that. But then when each key on the keyboard is individually modeled, and it also has a bevel on each key, like on each edge, that's stuff where that's going to be smaller than 1 pixel on the screen. The user isn't going to see that, and it's going to add.
It's like 3,000 polygons.
This was the first version of it, I think. But yeah, I agree. It was in my project, I guess. I had it in to make some screenshots for the Discord.
Yeah. So
and also all the detail stuff, and I was saying to Marcel also that you need to decide what you want to make high detailed and what not, and like you said, no one will look at the edges of the keyboard.
Yeah, the attention to detail was awesome, but it's like we have to think about like the whole project.
Yeah, I'm looking at the keyboard model now. It's like has this like nice like indent for the keys, like
like a depression on the top of the key.
Yeah, like it separates the frame from like where the keys are.
Nice.
I have the GLTF.
Okay.
Yeah, I have the GLTF. That could just be a normal map.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a good model, but
like, yeah, but it's gonna like if everything gets modeled at that detail, then when we run the level, it will make a big difference on like it'll run slower than it needs to, and people won't understand why.
You said an Ultra engine was fast.
Yeah, but we want. I mean,
Right.
I would rather have an extra. I mean, everything is a cost, so I would rather have an extra enemy on screen than to have
Extra keyboard.
bevels on my individually modeled keys. As I mean, the model is excellent. I'm just saying, like for games, we have to be careful.
Right.
It sounds like you guys like okay, so everybody's clear on that.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah. Yeah. So as long as once I get the GLTF and it has like a material on it, then I'll know it's ready to be put in the game. So I'm just
okay,
waiting for those.
okay, cool. And then we also got a first look at the view models, which are the view model, which is looking quite good. I think
It's just the hands, no gun.
those are some nice hands. Do you guys want to show it off or?
Andy can show it up because he painted it.
I don't have the screenshot open, but you can open it, the screenshots if you want.
Okay, hold
Yeah.
on. Let's see.
I haven't looked at it. Again. I only care. I only really care about models if they're ready to go. I kind of overstepped with the doors a little bit, and I kind of just don't want to do that again. But the doors were kind of important because they relate to the level. Because I needed double wide doors, and I needed like doors with a handle on only one side, and all that. So I don't want to overstep a lot when it comes to the individual assets. So
Yeah, and I mean, there's some like we're getting our process figured out right now, so everybody's kind of learning what their job is and how to get this data to flow to each other efficiently. So it's okay if we have like some if it takes us a little while to get up and running. The model is made by Marcel, and the texturing is done by Andy, the same Andy that's here with us now. And I think both of these guys did a fantastic job with this. It looks so good.
yeah,
It's about, I think it's about 24,000 vertices, which is okay. I think it's like 50,000 triangles, which is okay for these models. We can probably cut them off as like a final step. We can cut them off above the elbows, but it is good for us to have this now because it's easier for us to. It would be terrible if we find out, at the last step, oh, we need more arm.
yeah. No, I think when we get the component in, and then we play with the view model, field of view, and all that, because that's going to be a separate camera. I want that as a separate camera. We can dial everything in, and then be like, oh well, I'm not seeing any of the upper sleeve, and then we can just.
Actually, the stitches was quite hard to make without a drawing that I have on my work. I got a drawing surface, but at home I don't have a drawing surface, so it was quite hard to make the stitches on the gloves.
So do you use like a pen, like a stylus?
Normally on the work I would do it, but at home I don't have a pad yet, so yeah.
Oh, okay.
I had to make them with the mouse.
Oh, okay. Well,
I make everything
they
with
look
mouse.
good.
Yeah, I wouldn't know.
He does look like he's been rolling around in that field.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's very, very cool. You guys both did a fantastic job. And you're using used Substance Painter?
Yeah, I got the Steam version. This is also why I was not able to make good fingernails, so I didn't make any fingernails. You see that there are no fingernails because I don't have material for it.
Okay, well, I mean, we can that can be added later if we need.
Yeah, sure.
Maybe we can do something with this. We can just hand paint the specularity on it or something. I think that's when you kind of need to hand paint something, and it's not that big of a deal because it's not like
hand painting is not the way to go. This I don't know if you saw the texture atlas or the textures from it. It's
no. I'm just giving options because it's something that's not really a big deal. Like if the guy chewed off his fingernails, that's one thing, but I don't think anyone...
I'm not sure. Even if you see them when he has a weapon in the hand or something, I'm not sure if you see the fingernails.
Right. So I think it's something like we shouldn't worry about right now.
Yeah, of all the things.
Actually, making good hands and good fingers and good feet are really hard in 3D.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I'm so impressed with what you guys have done. I mean, I've seen like so many bad view models, so you guys did a really spectacular job.
Yeah, I was unwrapping it with the hand, so I made the UVs for myself with the hand. Sadly, the AI from Risen was not able to produce a good result. So yeah.
Dead bot.
Yeah, and it was also like you guys are did that like pretty quickly. Like he modeled it very quickly, and you textured it very quickly. So I'm really super impressed. Yeah. So let's see. What about what's our status on the doors? Are those finalized?
Yesn't. I have they're in the game. I had to make modifications to the UVs because of like my extra models and everything. The Blender file is in the end is in the project, so anyone can just load a Blender and do what they gotta do. If you have to rebake the AOs because you don't disagree with mine or whatever, that's fine. It's not a big deal. There's only a few doors in right now, and I can just delete them and swap them out. But they're pretty much the doors I kind of need. There's two different doors, and then there's like a variation between those two different doors. There's a door that with no window, and there's a door with the window, and then each door has a version where there's only a knob on one side for the double wide doors. And those are just AOs I baked because that's usually because again, I used to work with a fantastic 2D designer, and he always wanted ambient occlusion, and he wanted his UVs printed out. He used Namoset. His work was stunning. And then he got busy, and he only wanted to do like a stylized because he found realistic to be a little bit boring from what I remember. But his work was incredible back then. So, and that's why there's UVs like printed out because that's
okay. But if Andy needs to change these, he can.
Yeah. As long as everything is compact and not like, and we're not wasting space, I'll be happy.
That was the other thing we saw. We can have. I mean, we should be able to have like at most there should be 50% wasted space on a texture, and if we need to remap some UVs, like I can write code very easily that would just like crop the image and then double the texture coordinates on one, just multiply them by 2 on one axis, but that issue we saw with the UVs, like that is also something that we want to avoid in the future if we can.
Yeah, I only did the doors because they kind of helps me get the scale down. So but if everything is garbage and like it's not usable, then just let me know and just give me a GLTF and I will.
For the textures, all the stuff I need is the model, and I need to see if the UVs are working or not, and because Substance don't care about the ambient occlusion you have. Substance is creating its own ambient occlusion for the stuff.
Yeah, I only did that because I used to work with the former my friend. That's what he needed, and I don't know what you need. So because he used Mamoset, and but yeah, you have the Blender file. You have the physics because it uses custom physics for the door. You have the MDL file. If there's anything else you need, just let me know. But you have the Blender file.
Yeah. So if the scale of the geometry, like if the geometry in this is the right scale and everything's final, and ready to go, then I guess we can proceed to the next step.
Yeah. If it was like if this was my solo project, the doors would be considered final in my eyes. I would just have to paint them, but
Okay.
I would hand paint them because that's how I roll. Because I don't use I'm not a 2D artist, so I just wing it.
but hand painting and PBR workflow is something that doesn't
Yeah.
like each other. PBR,
Yeah.
you need a program for PBR.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I'm starting to pick that up. But when I was doing Cyclone, I hand painted everything. So because it would use the bling pongs.
Yeah, but you used Leadworks, right? This was normal, the old workflow, the diffuse specular workflow.
Yeah, that's why, and I'm starting to notice that, with the PBR system. And before you came on, they were gonna make me paint this stuff. I'm like, I'm not good at that. So we're glad that you're here.
We weren't gonna make you do anything.
Well, Marcel wanted me to.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So this is a great. It's very, very much fun working with you guys because I'm learning too. From this process. Yeah. So I just can't wait to get some more gameplay, get some gameplay going, so I can run around in our level.
Yeah.
I think you added me, right, on GitHub.
I think so, but anybody can download from this project. This is an open project, but maybe I didn't. If you don't have access to upload on this, then please send me a message with like your GitHub profile.
I think he did.
I did.
I think he did add him. Let me see.
I'm in. Yes. I think you added me.
I don't even know where it shows members or anything.
Give me a second.
Contributors.
Because I'm the only one that contributed, but
he might still be, like in there.
Hold on, let me see.
But in any case, you can download from it right now.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to make a special shader just for grass because I found that grass works best if you just match the terrain normal.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why this looks good. But if you do that, then your output normal is pointing in a weird direction, and it doesn't work with. So when SSAO runs on that, that's why there's no SSAO appearing on the grass. So I think I need a special shader just for grass. And then you can probably add like wind and stuff, like special wind just for grass later and stuff like that.
Speaking of shaders, something I was thinking about earlier today. I want a color mask shader where a certain mask only receives the diffuse color. You understand?
No.
Okay, so the best analogy is like the hats in Team Fortress 2. There's parts of the model that, because they have the paint can system, right? Mm-hmm. There's parts of the model that don't change color.
Oh,
and then parts of a model
and then you can change the diffuse color of the model, and you can use that to like have blue stripes or red stripes on the wall.
Correct.
That would be useful. Yeah.
That's very useful.
So it's like a color mask.
Yeah, so anything that's white on that mask will get colored, and everything that's black will get ignored.
Yeah, that would be pretty handy to have.
Yeah, like I'm pretty sure someone can write a custom shader, but I don't know with the current how you have the material system right now. You have it set up that it only accepts like diffuse, normal, metal displacement, emission, and inclusion.
Oh, those are defined in the shader family.
Yeah, so we kind of like maybe they should be like an extra, so a shader can be part of the shader family without making a
No,
whole
the way you do it is you create a new shader family, but they have inheritance, so you only have
right.
you can define a new shader family, but you only have to define the new fragment shader. You don't have to like redefine everything because that would be a long time. That would take a long
Right.
time. So it's not that hard to do. It's just that's how I would do it. It's just the shaders are big and complex because the lighting takes place in the shaders because it's a
Right.
forward plus renderer.
Right.
I think the best way to do this is to have like a user defined hook that gets basically a hook that gets called inside the default PBR fragment shader, and then that way you can control. It'll give you like the inputs of what it thinks the PBR, what the surface should be before it runs lighting, and then you can modify any of those inputs, and then it runs the standard lighting. I think that's the best way to do things because that'll cut down. Because we don't want to have to copy and paste lots of code, and then if some small setting changes in the lighting, we don't want to have to change that all our derivative shaders.
Yeah.
That's how I.
Because in Lightworks, I can do this like in 5 minutes in Lightworks. Like I think I did in the Cyclone too. And I'm very like cautious about even touching the shaders in Ultra Engine because of how complex it is.
Yeah, and in Leadworks you have to. You also the shaders in Leadworks are extremely simple actually because the lighting is all in a separate stage, but shoot.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about too many things.
Yeah, well, it's kind of like interesting because it's like I'm just like I kind of want to put like a like half stripe on the wall, but I don't want to make a million material. I'm okay with making a million materials, but I don't want to make a million textures. He's like, oh, this is the
Right.
wall variant with a red stripe, and this is the wall variant with a blue stripe. You know what I mean? I kind of just want to do what I did for the concrete for the plaster wall and just change the color and just save as new material.
Yeah, what I was gonna say is in Leadworks you have to assign every shader, like every single material has to have all of the different shaders that it uses assigned.
Right.
And in Ultra you just have the one shader family file which
Right.
gets assigned, so that is quite a lot easier to deal with.
Right.
If you want, we can do after the meeting a door together or something. If you guys want to see how to make materials or texture things in Substance for the engine.
Yeah, do you want to like walk us through it?
Sure, I can do it.
Cool.
Because in the doors I can show the material IDs and some stuff, which is really helpful to save some VRAM.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I appreciate. I'm interested.
Yeah. And any like anything you need, like what I need, you know, is very insightful for Josh because he could be like, oh, artists actually need this or they want this or so.
Cool.
Because right now it's just download models of whatever and just put it in the engine. But if you're actually trying to make something, you know, it's kind of difficult.
Oh, actually, like when I was dealing with when I was importing some trees from FBX format, and I converted the first one to our own model format, and then I opened it up and I adjusted the material to be the way I wanted it to, and then I converted the others, and then I opened them, and the material was already like exactly the way I wanted because they used the same materials, and I was like, wow, that like external material files are really super convenient. That's like way better than having them embedded.
Yeah, I think having GLTF as the imported like import format over FBX if possible. Like if you were to model something yourself, I think GLTF is the way to go because your material data gets saved into the format.
Yeah.
And then when you export, you get that material back. You don't have to remake it or match it.
Yeah, the material system is like the best. GLTF does it.
Yeah, that's why I wanted GLTF for the
Yeah,
final model.
but I do think we're getting, like, now that we have. I initially I did not want to implement our own custom file format, but now that we have, I think we're getting. It's just, I think working with it is a lot easier because it's got everything packed into it.
On our work, we only use FBX. We don't use GLTF and other stuff. We also only get FBX from customers. I think it's like with the DLCs, people don't want to change stuff, and FBX is there for like 20 or 30 years now. So,
yeah, but I'm just saying, like, if you were in charge of your own pipeline, I would recommend using GLTF because you get that material from Blender, and then you don't have to remake it.
Does that make things difficult, Andy? Like, if you're sending files out, is it hard to get the materials from, like, Substance to them through FBX?
No. You can export direct from Substance into GLTF, or you would send the textures only with it. So in the most part of the things, they just send a file and then you make the textures for it, and just send the raw textures, and then they create the materials and all the stuff for themselves.
Oh, geez, that sounds like a pain.
But yeah, you can export direct in GLTF from Substance, so you have a done model. There's also something wrong in Ultra, because if I use this workflow, all the materials gotten transparency property set. So yeah, you need to uncheck the transparency, but it's still faster than to.
If that happens, please upload the model and I will take a look at it. Because with GLTF especially, it's very easy for me to verify if something is wrong or not. Okay. So that's all I've got for this week. Do we have any questions?
Are we going to stay on for Andy to show us materials, or I don't know?
Well, I wasn't. He said after the meeting. So do you want to, Andy? Do you want to do
Yeah, sure. It's not that long. I think it takes 20 minutes, maybe.
Okay. Do you want that to be part of the recording?
If you want. If you're not, then feel free to enter record.
No, it's fine with me. I just wanted to ask you. Let's see. Displacement. Okay. I'm gonna take a quick break, and then we'll come back and we can learn how to a short intro to Substance, right?
Sure.
Okay, cool. What are you gonna go over? Are you just gonna go over just models, materials and models, or?
Yeah, creating the material IDs in Blender, export it. And, import all the stuff you need to actually create the textures and Substance. It's really straightforward. It's not too complicated. And then export it to GLTF.
Right. So pretty much like what you would do in your worlds when you get a model, and.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you want to crush two birds, one stone, and just use the doors?
I make one door, yes.
Yeah. So
yeah, I got everything prepared, so we can start then.
Awesome. Yeah. Because I can do like world textures, like because you just download PBR materials and then you just paint whatever you need on it, and then you just re-export it. And the texture that I imported from Cyclone actually came over pretty well. It's just a diffuse and a normal map, so I'm not really. I tried adding a roughness map to it, but it just looked weird. And it's a ceiling texture, so no one's gonna look up anyway. So I don't know. Right now, I'm just grabbing things from PBR sites and just finding out what I want, what kind of materials I want, and then we can revisit them.
I think if you really want to dive into game development, you really should buy Substance Painter at least.
Well, you see, I'm a jack of all trades. And materials and art is something I wanted to like avoid. Like I do level design. I'm good. That's how I got in. I do level design. I One thing I don't like, my least favorite thing to do is models and textures. I like the code, I like the level design, I like the prototype, I like to do all this nonsense. But when it comes to models and textures, I kind of just wing it, fake it till I make it, etc. So, yes, I do agree. I think learning how to do it the modern way of doing things, I think would be a huge benefit. So,
Yeah, I think it's everything worth is like $200 or something, and you get it for a lifetime. So I also buy only every 2 years a new license for it. So yeah.
Yeah, well, I just gotta validate since it's something I'm gonna be paying for. I gotta validate that investment. You know what I mean? Like
It's
how often I'm gonna be texturing. You know what I
it's
mean?
actually fun. So yeah, I need to share my screen, right?
Yeah,
Yep.
Otherwise,
I'm ready to
it
learn.
Yeah.
won't help. So basically, I downloaded this program. It's called Text Tools for Blender. I post the link in the chat because it's to create the material IDs.
Mhm.
It's the first thing you want to have. It's a really helpful add-on. It's free and open source here. So what we have here now is the door with the UV open,
Hmm.
and I can assign all to the red material. So I have everything, yeah, selected, assign this to a red material, and now I can decide what should be metal, what should be something else. So I take all the stuff here. This is, for example, metal. Then this, and this with the door. And in the doors, it's pretty easy because it's only you will only have two materials. So the door base material itself, and then the metal material I assigned it to blue. And now we have our material IDs. It's important for substance.
Right.
And I can go now to baking and go to material ID and bake this file one time, and then you see there is the stuff. It's not color correct. I don't know why it's not color correct, but yeah, it shouldn't be that. Yeah, it should be okay. Everything is separated in another color. This is important. So we can save this image. I think I have a folder for XFORM already. Doors and door double. It's actually door one material. And the naming is not that important. Only that we have it. So in the first step in Substance now, I go and need to open this stuff here. Where it is game assets 3D. I got a mess on my PC. XFORM doors and drag and drop this just here. And this is opening an import option for me. So I can now decide where I want to import it. It's aktuelle Sitzung is in German. It's called the actual session. So I don't want to have this forever in my library. And it's a texture. So yeah, door material PNG. I press import, and then there is the stuff we created in Blender. Then I create a new new project. It's a PBR project. I said this resolution here is only for my working right now, so it's 2K for the workflow in the editor. If I would set it to 4K, my PC would start lagging. Ultra is using OpenGL, so we need an OpenGL normal map format. And now I select the model itself. XFORM doors door 1, and I press OK. So we have now the door here, and one thing we need to do now is in the texture settings, we need to define the ID. So there it is. It's the ID. And now we want to bake all this texture. So this is also the stuff where the ambient occlusion and all other stuff is getting created. So I go to this option. I uncheck the ID because we have the ID. We don't want to generate a new ID. And I set it to 4K, for example. And he is now calculating all the stuff for the texturing, like the ambient occlusion is out there and some other stuff, curvature maps. And now we got the thing itself baked. We can basically see, for example, here the ambient occlusion. If this is right, it should be right.
Yeah.
And
I think the benefit of me doing ambient occlusion, the normals are correct. So
okay,
that's what I was looking for pretty much when I do my AOs. I make sure the faces are the right way.
So yeah, if we want to have a bit older door, I would use this rust material and hold control while I'm moving this over the model, and then you can see our materials here, our material ID. And if I drop it on blue, only the stuff with the blue material ID is assigned assigned to this texture then. But this is a bit too much, I think. But yeah. It's a bit too much rust.
I think the door handle might be its own ID because that's like a smoother metal and
yeah. So this is basically you maybe this stuff here needs to be a bit smoother, like you said, the handle, or to an extra material. We can see, like in Photoshop, you can also edit the layers itself. So I can just delete it and can see if we have some better stuff for this then, in this case. So yeah, here we got some other metal. It's also not good. And these are basically smart materials, so they got some other stuff with it. If you can see it here, they have some masks already on it, and these are normal materials. So if I put, for example, here concrete, it's only, for example, it's only one texture with a mask. Yeah, but smart materials are, I think, the best way.
Right.
But we need to figure out which fits the best, like this or something. And
yeah, I'm thinking like so this is going to be mostly in the offices, and what they are is usually a smooth metal, and then the it's usually a very smooth metal. Maybe we want to make either a duplicate door or when the models can support multiple skins, make different door skins, so we can have the same door model in the offices with a clean and everything, and like smooth. I think smooth is a better description of the doors. And then in the dungeon area, they could be more rough.
Yeah.
So right now we can only do that, like the wood and everything. But I think right now the only way to get multiple door variations is multiple models. But if when we get skins,
I can create multiple textures, for example.
Right.
I can create multiple materials and assign them to the door. For example, this for the office.
Yeah.
It's a bit cleaner, and
right. Can you? I know you said like hand paint. You're very you're against hand painting, but can you like go in and paint more detail? Like if you had a
sure.
Yeah, so that's kind of like what I'm picking up here. You pick your base material. Pretty much what I'm doing with the world stuff. You pick your base materials, make sure the colors and everything are right, and then you can go in and start painting grime and
Doesn't Substance do like edges and stuff though?
You have, for example, this gold material is a smart material, and if I put it on the door, this was wrong. If I put it to this, then you can see here the edges.
right.
Oh yeah. That's why that's the stuff that looks good. Because doing that stuff by hand like just takes ages.
We also can delete this mask, for example, or we can edit the mask. There is something like gold pure subsurface grain. You can edit smooth edges. I look for the scratches itself, but I think I can add another mask. Let's do a white mask. And then you have here some masks like KB Rust. And then you get something like this. It's only an example now.
Yeah,
so, yeah.
I know it's a weird like look, but yeah, like this is the kind of stuff that I always look for. That looks great.
Yeah.
Or like dirt ground, like this, so you could maybe create some dirt on it.
Or I would put that like in the roughness. Like I would like not put that like in the door, like the fuse, but it'll be like part of the roughness map, where if the light hits a certain way, you can see like where everyone like touched it and like smeared their hands on it.
This is a bit too much. Yeah, you can, you can also.
Can you do blood everywhere?
But here we can just delete this this dirt base map or this mask. We can just delete it. And we can edit then something like this dirt ground, and I think this looks really good then.
Yeah, it looks a little bit better.
You can change the parameters here for the mask itself. So you can global invert it. Then you have something like this, and then you can also like the
You can just move sliders.
Yeah, you can move the sliders until you are fine with it. Also, there is something like top-down ambient occlusion. You can also adjust the range, so there's many features: curvature, top-down gradient. So the dirt will be only on the bottom, for example. Yeah, it's you can spend hours and hours in it to create some materials and models, but you also can like paint normal, like I created in paint area here. And then I can look for something like hands. Reef said he wants some hands.
Yeah, like, but I only want it like in the roughness, because normal, like you don't see it normally, but it's like one of those things where if the light hits it a certain way.
Yeah, here are some hands.
Right.
So you can use this as a normal brush.
Right.
Like something like this. And then you can also decide if you want to have in color, if you want to have in height, but normally it should have no color, but it's only for, I think you need to predefine it. So if I make it now, it's not drawing any color. So yeah, you need to predefine it before you draw actually, and then you can only leave the roughness, set it for example, and change the roughness to white. And then you have something like this. It's hard to see maybe for you, but
I see it.
Yeah. Can you rotate the door a little bit so we can see like how it reacts to the light? Oh yeah.
Yeah. Like that, but the hand's a little bit too big, but
yeah.
It's Bigfoot. Bigfoot goes to the dentist.
I look for the lightning thing here. So yeah, you can also rotate the lightning.
Yeah. I think it should be subtle. Like you should know that their hands. Like I know you're just doing this as a demo, but
yeah,
but yeah, that's kind of like what I want. Like like there's more detail in the rough, like if the light hits a certain way, because that's what I like.
I wonder if you could turn that into a puzzle, like somebody has like a code for some to open some doors, like written on, I don't know, like something that's, I don't know why it would be there, but like it's hard to see, and then like in those detective shows where they take the piece of paper out and they rub the pencil.
You can also write here something like a code or something else.
Yeah.
And then you can,
I don't know what the excuse for it being there is, or why it would, but that would be kind of cool.
Probably will make a lot of people mad that they have to shine their flash at a certain angle. But
you could maybe do something with with dust, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you use the dust here, you maybe could make more dust on it, and then but the dust looks really, really awful. The basic dust, I have to say. And so then you could maybe make a mask and something like this stuff. And what you also can do, it's normal maps, so you can assign a normal map to it to make some special 3D stuff to save some vertices, for example, for keyboards or something like this. You could create a simple normal. I use this now, and I can say it's a normal, and then can move this around.
Nice.
So this part here, for example, we would need this to be modeled because you can use this. I think it's the exact same stuff. You can rotate it, you can scale it.
All right. Well, I think that's just a cylinder on top of a plane. So I think you can just go in Blender and just delete it. And
so you can save some vertices. For example, this knob we could create with this stuff here. Yeah.
But that actually might look better with the polys. But again, if it's for VR, I would do both. But
you can do it inside or outside. It's You can even change the height here, or the normal.
The intensity.
If I set height, it's now. It's because it's not good example, but it will take the whole thing here and make it like this.
I see. So it's like the base.
The base textures.
Yeah.
But in normal, you just use it here, make here, okay, I want to use this as a normal, and then you have something like this here. With Substance Designer, you also can create own normal stuff. So it would no problem to make the keys, for example, with the normal map for the keyboard. Yeah, and then if you are done with this, for example, with the door, I can go here, can say export textures. I think it's on English. Then I change the location. So 3D. Then XFORM doors, I can name it door 1.
Mm-hmm.
Export or something like this.
Mm-hmm.
Select this, and here I can choose what I want to export. I have also some old Networks 2 stuff with the old workflow, but this is pretty new. You can say GLTF PBR metallic roughness, and then you can export it with this. It's now in 4K. You can even upscale it to 8K. But I think 4K, it's even 2K. It's more than enough for door.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think 2K should be the target image size for most props.
So, and I have now export this, and I could open it in Ultra.
Right.
So here's the export, and you see there are all the maps you need plus the model itself.
But one thing you did, I don't know if this is a big deal or not, but one thing you did was that the door frame, this is technically like door 2 because this is the door without the knob. So that's just a name. I can fix that on my end, but there's also a door to make up for that extra space, there was an actual the door frame shared that material, shared that sheet.
Yeah, there was also the door frame. Yes, you could make the door frame with it, but for the example, I use this and my.
All right, yeah. So you can do 2 models at once, pretty much, and then export them both, or is it one per model?
It's one, but you can export it and assign a different material IDs.
Oh, I
My
see.
PC crashed. It's a bit too much for my PC, I think. I have not the biggest PC at home.
Okay, so when you actually do this for production, you would do everything, set separate IDs for everything.
Yeah, then it's on the same texture. So
right.
if it's on the same
Okay.
texture, I do it with different material colors. If it's own materials, I use own models for it. Yeah.
All
Does
right,
this
yeah,
program use like a huge amount of video memory, maybe?
Yeah, and VRAM.
Yeah, that could do that.
But my SSD is broken also, so yeah, it happens multiple. Not the engine itself. It's basically too much for the PC.
Okay.
And it uses a lot of normal memory. You see, it's still working. And
yeah, go test. I would disable it. Go task manager and try to board it. I would.
I try to
Control
get the
Alt
task
Delete.
manager to. Yeah, I know, but it doesn't get me in the task manager. It's completely broken right now. Now. So yeah, you see the. I think it's not that hard.
Oh,
Use a high amount of video RAM.
That looks like it's pretty much all of it.
Yeah. 12 gigs is kind of common. I think I have 12 gigs on mine.
Yeah, you need a big graphic card for it. It's
to do everything, yeah.
Yeah.
So I think you were saying there was a difference between the Steam version and the version from their site?
Yeah, if you get the subscription, you can access the material library. Substance. And you can download then for a given amount of credits, you can download materials. There is also community assets, but yeah.
Well, yeah, I think there's also like things you can download off the internet. I saw a lot of substance files where
if I want fingernails or something, I can download here some materials. For example, this stuff. The search algorithm is not that good because I was searching for fingernails and I get some glove stuff. But yeah, you can basically download with credits. You see, I have 0 credits on my own account because the Steam version you don't get credits with the Steam version. You get
how much does the Steam version cost though?
I think it's $200. The new version, the 2024. This version was on 140, I think.
Yeah,
but
that's not bad.
The price.
But the Steam version, is it buy once you keep forever? You just don't get updates. Yeah.
Yeah, you get 1 year updates.
Yeah, yeah. Affinity Designer was like that. And I don't really care because I only need Affinity Designer to do logos. So
yeah, you buy it once and then it's yours. So
all right, good. So if myself or someone else just needs to do basic models, and they should be all set. Because I know you can pretty much do a lot of other things. So
yeah, it's pretty cool that you can actually buy it once and then it's yours. It's
yeah, that's rare nowadays.
Yeah, very rare.
I wish I could do that with 3ds Max.
And that's why a lot of my pipeline stuff is open source, multi-platform stuff.
I got some test folder here, so
yeah, I have my own test folder too.
It's my project. This is the reason, and then I can delete this folder, and now it should be in the engine, and you can see, where are the models here? And then we have the test folder, door, and then you have the materials here and the door itself,
Right.
like we textured it before. And this is the thing with the transparency I mentioned. The materials have some transparency. You can see it here. Really good.
Yeah, that's not right.
Hold
And,
on. Can we take another look at that?
Yeah, can you full screen the window, the asset window, so we can get a bigger? Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, it's the transparency. It gets exported with transparency for some reasons.
In the model, the checkbox for transparency is checked.
Yes. I think
The material.
Yeah, transparent. If I
Hmm.
uncheck it,
There's nothing in substance that trips that.
it's the opacity map, but you need an opacity map in order to
Oh, I see. You need
to
an
generate
opacity
the
map.
property.
You need an
But there is
opacity
no
map.
opacity map.
I will take a look at that. That is, yeah,
But I think save it and then it's
then
one click, so it's
yeah.
not that big
Well, I'd
deal.
like to get rid of that. It's either an error. It's either like I might be making an assumption I shouldn't, or else I forget how transparency is stored in GLTF, but I will take a look.
right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that looks great.
That looks awesome.
Yeah, for
This is the door for
20 minutes.
Yeah, it's only an example, so you can, as I say, you can spend hours in this program to to texture something.
Yeah, it is a lot easier than drawing each pixel.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, how I would did most of my stuff for Cyclone was that I went on textures.com when textures were actually free on that site, and then I would just do what Andy did was that I would just color in what I want metal, what I want a darker metal, what I want, a light, I'll just color like where I want things, and then I'll just use the stamp tool and I'll just stamp the material where I wanted it. Like it's pretty much like a primitive version of Substance Painter, but because that wasn't using PBR, that was how I did it. So, but yeah.
And then there is the other big thing you can create on materials, but this is a bigger thing. It's pretty hard. This is another Substance product. It's the designer.
Right, this is the one with the nodes and everything, right?
With the nodes, yeah, where you can create some.
I don't like nodes.
Actually, I think I actually own this product, but I was never able to figure out like.
Yeah, you use nodes and many generators to create some materials. Like this marbles, I did it for 1 house in my Letworks game. Yeah. So I created some marble tiles. Where are some things missing here? I think I can change this. I work not that often with this program, to be honest.
Right.
It's 2D.
I'm kind of shy with anything with nodes, so.
Oh yeah. I have actually no clue how to change this right now. But yeah.
But that's how you would make your own materials.
Yeah, but in general, you don't need this. You can get really far with the basic materials. And if not, you can go to the community materials, to the community assets, so everyone in the community can share the materials they made. Some people make it. There are some cool materials with it, but it's not that much like in the big library. But yeah, for example, this copper or something looks really good. Yeah, and this is free. You can download. Everyone can download this. Also, some models you can see here.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, this looks. It looks fun to use.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's also easier than to hand paint all the stuff. It's you can easily make details and all the stuff in like few seconds, like I did with the stitches on the view model with the hand.
Right. Yeah, I think my friend hand painted a lot of his stuff. Again, he used Mamo sets, and Photoshop, so I'm coming from like that era. But then again, he did a lot of source engine stuff, so you couldn't use PBR.
Now you can use it, I think, in the new Source engine.
In Source 2, yeah, but why would you want to use Source 2 at this point?
So yeah, this was basically everything how you can create the stuff. Important is if you have one texture with all the stuff or one UV map, you need a material ID for it. If you have multiple materials, for example, I can open the view model from yesterday, and then I have multiple materials. Like here, you have multiple objects, so you can assign this to one material. You can assign this to one material and this to one material, and then you have 3 textures.
Yeah,
but then the workflow is a bit different also.
Yeah, but wouldn't ideally you want everything to be you want the hands to be one material with the gloves and sleeves
It depends. For a view
Right.
model, I would. This is basically the whole thing a player is seeing, right? And the view model itself, or at least we learned it in our study, the view model itself, what the players all the time seeing should be really high detailed.
Right.
Well, are you talking about like the number of materials?
The number of materials, number of textures, for example, the texture resolution.
Well, I mean, for like optimization purposes,
right.
then you would want the fewest number of materials usually. But in the case of these models, it's not like we have like 100 of these, in the distance that we're going to be rendering. So if you use separate materials, it doesn't really matter with these, I don't think.
Right. But I mean, logistically, like let's say like you make a player that can hold multiple guns. So I'm thinking you would do all your hands on one material sheet and then the gun on a different one. That's just.
Oh yeah. With view models, I would go for convenience because they're only getting rendered once.
I would create one view model and attach a weapon holster to the hand and change the model in the engine to the weapon.
Yeah, no, that's how you would do it.
This would be the best way. But for this, you would need to access all the mesh, for example, in the skeleton in the editor. Yeah, but.
Yeah, I think we can probably just add a bone in the attachment point.
Yeah, for example, like a bone, and then you can attach the weapon to this bone, and the weapon should follow then the animation properly.
We only just want like what weapon do we want? Are we just having one? Are we just having like an assault rifle, or are we going to have an assault rifle and a pistol, or?
Well, for every weapon type, you need an animation. So
yeah, but I'm just saying
animation and walk animation. It's I think 2 weapon types or something should be enough. Maybe 2 and a melee attack or something like a hit when you have no weapon.
Well, I think we should. I like pistols, but I think we also need like an assault rifle. And then we need like a melee, either that's like bashing or a knife.
But the problem is no one from us got motion capture suits, so making the animations is
by hand.
It's much harder to model and all to draw the stuff. Yeah.
No, Marcel says he can do it, so I'm willing to
let
him take a stab at it.
Yeah, but Josh, do you want to just be one gun, do that the entire thing, or you want like a holster of weapons?
Oh, I would ideally, like what you guys were saying, I think like a pistol, automatic weapon, and then melee weapon. I think that would be ideal.
Yeah. But do you want like a melee?
The minimum I'm willing to do is like if we just had an assault rifle, we could do that. I don't think we can do like the ending sequence we want. I don't think it would really work with a pistol.
Well, I just like pistols because the idea is that you have a weapon with a spread. You have a weapon with a single like a simple trace, and then a melee demonstrates how you would do a melee. Like maybe again we can do like a bash animation for a melee. But I think we should have the demonstrations like, okay, you can use the same component to make the assault rifle and the same component to make the pistol by just changing these variables. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I think we just we really need to like get Marcel in this conversation because
right.
I have no idea how hard it is to make those.
Right. Yeah. No, I'm just saying because you want things to be simple, and I don't want to go crazy and all of a sudden this is like a billion line code worth of code and everything. And
I don't want to do reloading individual shotgun shells. No.
right.
Because I did that in Leadworks and it was cool, but like it did add up quite a lot of code.
Right. Yeah. So that's it's because you want simple and reusable, and we kind of want to make like things cool. So we gotta have like a balance between those two things.
Yeah, I agree. All right. Well, I'm gonna get going to lunch. Andy, thank you very much for the lesson. That was very cool.
Very insightful because now I know what you need and what you're talking about, what you need, because there was a huge disconnect.
Yeah, I think also if you see and understand why an ambient occlusion map or baking ambient occlusion in Blender is not that necessary, then
yeah. Again,
you understand now better why it's not necessary, and
yeah. Again, that was from my history, and now seeing how your workflow works, I know what you need a little bit or how you do things. So,
all right.
Everything's good.
Okay.
All right, guys. Right. Thank you everyone for coming for another episode. Let's see if anybody wrote anything in the chat before we go. Releases. Oh, that's the tool for that. Okay, cool. Yeah. All right, everyone, have a good week, and I will see you on the forum.
Yep.
Yeah. Have a good week.